This goes out to that former, well, he calls himself former MGTOW human, Australian YouTuber. I was seeing him making a video where he's criticising people, who basically talk about, quote, the bigger picture when it comes to the government and how, they're running our lives and all this type of commentary. I don't understand what gets him so triggered because I want to say this to people who have got an open mind and where I'm coming from, because huMAN comes across as this trendy middle class person where he's done photography and that. So he's talked about it in videos before where, he doesn't have to worry about money and all that. He gets money. He lives pretty decently. He's got a house and a car. And okay, cool. So I think it's more than that. I think that he actually knows prominent people and they help him to fucking, figure out a way to get ahead. And that's whatever. You can kind of fucking tell when you get to a certain age, like I am now in my fucking late 30s, you can kind of tell what type of person they are and what kind of life they've lived just by the way they talk. But anyway, that's enough about that. You got to keep something in mind. When he gives this fucking video, this narrative, he is talking from the position of a middle class person that doesn't have to worry about anything economically or any other type of fucking challenge. So he's just talking about something that just comes straight from himself personally. Now he's criticizing people who, you know, talk about the bigger picture, but he's like, oh, you're not changing anything. And I'm like, okay, what's your point? Things change slowly when it comes to those types of things, and if anything, you don't really know because you're not in the fucking know. You don't see what I see, human, but I'll leave it there. But he's probably talking about a certain kind of keyboard wanker. I don't call him a keyboard warrior, keyboard wanker. Now, I don't really care about some fucking, miserable malcontent or discontent fuckwit out there. I mean, like, you giving them life is just beneath you. Not that I care about you, but you should fucking know better. Most people would know better. But you claim that there's a lot of people, and you don't know. You can't fucking blanket statement everybody. You don't know where they're coming from. So that's why I'm saying, if you don't know what it's like to struggle, to really understand that your life is being dictated to by all this fucking shit. I mean, I remember I've had conversations with my dad, and he told me about how fucking badly we are regulated today compared to before. I remember even when I grew up in the 90s, things were so much fucking different and better. Now, fuck. It's like a person can't even formulate their own fucking views anymore. You're just fucking pigeonholed into one section of the culture war. How is any of that fair? But I don't want to get into too deep on that, but I'm just saying, like, maybe some people are genuinely talking about something that fucking matters to them, not something that's opinionated or they're trying to virtue signal, but I don't know. Then on top of that, I mean, like, I fucking know what's going on socially and that because, like Nearly Fuller Jr. said, white supremacy, if you don't know what it is, then everything out in the here in the world will only confuse you. But you're a Yugoslavian immigrant to Australia, which means you're white. So you take on the nature and the thought process of the oppressor class, even though you're an immigrant still. Don't matter how long you've lived here, you're still an immigrant. Because it doesn't matter how long immigrants stay in a place, they're always going to have that fucked up mentality. They're never going to have the mentality of a person who's descendant of indigenous, black, or white colonialists. Because that lineage goes back a fair while. Once those types of things are set in stone, you know what I mean? Things are the way they are. And so you got that rock solid, you know, mentality from being descendant of one of them. But when it comes to an immigrant, that's a total different mentality. Everything's always about choice and what I can get out of something. That's why immigrants are like fucking invasive species animals. But I don't want to get off into that because I don't want to say to another person from an immigrant background that you're a piece of shit. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying a lot of fucking assholes that say the shit they do is because of their fucked up immigrant mentality. But anyway, also, when you think about it, because in the video he mentions about the cities are getting overrun by animals. Now he mentioned about femtards and the fucking alphabet formation garbage, and I'm like, okay, but that's only a certain sector. Who else are you talking about? What about black and indigenous people? What about immigrants? Now, I don't really care if you bang on, certain type and certain number of immigrants, but you're banging on black and indigenous people? I can see through you, bud. I don't know what you're talking about. Just because you don't say it doesn't mean I don't know what you're saying. I do. That's why I don't understand why so many black uh, Miggies and that in America were so tuned into you years ago. But like Jason Black alluded to, so many of them blackfellas that are in the manosphere, they seem to think that they've transcended blackness because they can, they try to associate themselves in close proximity to white men and all that, and feel like, they're going through the same thing, so they feel like they're white adjacent when they're not. They get called a monkey real quick. Not only that, but they think they can lay up with a fucking biatch from another culture, and that makes them kind of transcended the fucking the race issue. No, it don't. It's like fucking Tariq Nasheed said. It's like everybody else that wakes up out of their bed goes back to team white supremacy or team whatever other nationality they are. It's only niggers that wake up out of that bed thinking that they've elevated somehow. No, you didn't. No, you fucking didn't. Anyway, I'm rambling, making this video long. But I can't understand why human, talks like he knows everything. Saying shit like the government are like 8 games of chess ahead of everybody. What do you really know, buddy? I only wish you could fucking see what's going on. Not from your side, not from the white side, but from other people's side. The real bigger picture. One where, and I'll say this in all being candid, when it comes to white supremacy, it's like Confucius, a Chinese philosopher, said: all good things, no matter how pleasant they are, will soon fade away, and all bad things, no matter how unbearable they are, will soon pass. Basically, mean that black and indigenous people being impressed, our time will come. White people, they've had their fucking run of the mill, undeservedly so. That's about to fucking fade. But according to you, they're so much ahead of us and all that. And it's like, when I'm listening to you saying all this shit about, rich people and that, but I remember my uncle said to me, it's like, why do you want to be like a rich person for? They don't know anyone. They're just stuck in their fucking mansion. They don't live a social life. Black people, we're the vibe, we're the culture, we're the elixir. And we don't have any money, but yet and all, we're the culture setters. It's like, dude, I don't really want to be some rich loner. I'd much rather be somebody in the struggle and got something popping and, be a part of, a group of people and that. Yeah, but I don't know, man. There's so many fucking people like to add their own shit out there, and it really fucking get torn apart so easily, dude. Oh. Anyway, and truth be told, I've never met anybody that said they wanted to be like, quote, a rich person, because everybody's different now. Because there's all different types of wealthy people now. You know? But I guarantee it, you make a black fella wealthy, he'll still have a social life. You make certain white people wealthy, they'll never get that. They'll never be able to be completely satisfied. And so I don't know where all that came from. Oh, they want us to think, dude, if you're somebody that goes along with whatever's put in front of you, that's your problem. So anything, sorry, you're just saying certain things that only apply to certain types of people and a certain amount of people, and it just fucking, it can't resonate with everyone. So I got to give some pushback, man. And so, wrapping this video up, I'm just saying that, like, what is the bigger picture? Because I think I can see multiple pictures, and that gives me a lot better idea on knowing what I'm talking about than any of you. What do you think on that?